Thank you. I would like to suggest a very simple comparison. Convention on high seas, right? Enormous work that's carried out. I don't want to insist on this, but this is an electronic sea or a cyber sea, a space of free access where misusage has always existed. There are territorial waters and then economic aspects. I don't want to compare this unduly, but the cleaning of bilges is an issue. Now, high seas piratery on the Persian Gulf, the Indian Ocean. So without going too far, it takes 20 years to reach a convention. At the end of the day, international waters managed by an agreement of all nations has taken a great deal of time. But the electronic sea also deserves a convention. Thank you. Yes, one last question. Thérèse Delpech. I don't think we're going to have any convention as long as we don't establish clear differentiations that have been made by some of the speakers between themes which, to my mind, are not at all related. There is a problem, which is the way in which a number of countries like China or Iran use Internet for social control of their populations. This has got nothing to do, it is an issue, granted, but it's got nothing to do with an issue such as the one that was alluded to for Estonia. And here I'm sorry to say that I would be on the side of those who might be qualified, because I consider as of the time when there's been a demonstration that a country could be totally blocked and locked for a number of days following an attack that has never been clearly determined, in other words, the exact origin. We have a number of reasons to express concerns, and it seems normal that ministers of defense should look into these issues. Be it said that countries that are the most vulnerable in this respect are, of course, those which are the most dependent on the net. In other words, the most industrialized countries, which means at the same time that if a country which is internet dependent were to be victim of an attack, it could be the US, it could be France. France has undergone a number of attacks. We don't discuss it extensively, but it has been the case. What can this country do if the origin is suspected as being a country which has fairly little internet dependence? I mean, how can you respond? But the difference of issues such as cybercrime, which is an enormous problem because an operation like Sinoval for years has made it possible to siphon off tens of billions on online accounts, and for the time being, there still hasn't been any clear response towards the guilty parties that haven't even been clearly identified. An attack against a state, that is yet something else again. But as this has been referred to, I think we need to come back to this. As of the time when you have sabotage software, as you've just seen with Stuxnet, a software which can reprogram, and I think mention was made of this, that are able to reprogram control and ordering systems, controlling either nuclear power plants or hydroelectric dams. The Three Gorge Dam in China is controlled by a Siemens control system, which is the one that was targeted by the worm. When you are confronted with systems that have a harmful interference of such a level, one needs to first become fully aware of the magnitude of the issue, and Western countries still have a lot of intellectual work to be carried out, and secondly, a clear understanding that we're not going to be able to deal with all these issues in the same way. As I see it, we should, as Pierre Moral has said, be able to have accepted in a first phase the fact that there are a certain number of behaviors that are not accepted because they're too dangerous. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam. Well, I think we need to wind up. So a very quick response from each of our speakers. Madam Minister, I think that we are ready to have a useful discussion in the G20. The topics are on the table and need to be somewhat sorted out. They won't all be dealt with in the same structures, but it is the time when a political drive could make it possible to have a better embodiment of the discussions. Thank you. Craig?
Just to the last lady's comments.
Au dernier commentaire de Madame, comme j'ai dit auparavant, il faut choisir un certain nombre d'activités et de décider quels sont les mécanismes que l'on veut utiliser pour les traiter, parce que le cyberespace est trop grand, mais certaines des menaces sont plus significatives que d'autres. Et donc je suis d'accord avec vous, Madame, qu'il faut avoir une compartimentalisation de cette discussion afin de pouvoir mieux cibler les risques. L'attribution va être essentielle, que ce soit votre banque pour essayer de savoir si c'est vraiment vous ou le département de la Défense d'essayer de savoir si c'était État-nation ou terroriste. La première chose qui doit être définie va être le mécanisme d'identification, et pas uniquement des identités pour les personnes. Pour les personnes, programmes et machines, les croix devront pouvoir être identifiées de façon robuste pour avoir des garanties, quelles qu'elles soient. Et c'est une des premières choses qu'il faudra définir par le monde, enfin le monde, en disant nous avons une base pour protection. Une fois que vous avez cela, alors se pose la question intéressante qui est quelles sont les règles militaires de l'engagement? Où est la diplomatie? Kurdoff a dit que pendant la guerre froide, il y a des armes nucléaires, l'on comprenait la menace, on comprenait quels étaient les acteurs, il y avait des règles d'engagement, on savait quelle serait la réaction vis-à-vis d'une action donnée. On perçoit la base de ces actions dans le cyberespace aujourd'hui, mais nous n'avons aucun accord quant à savoir quelles sont les règles d'engagement. Ou de savoir si l'on passe d'une défense active à une attaque active. Et cela est quelque chose que les gouvernements devront, sur lequel les gouvernements devront se mettre d'accord.
Oui, pour reprendre
François Marot, well, to come back to the theme, it's true that we've more looked at our negative fantasies rather than simply security, forgetting the extraordinary platform which enables the youth of the world that are not in schools have access to knowledge. 2 points here. There are 3 communities that are important to have in mind: the business world, states, and the consumer. And 2 important issues is the resilience, that is the capacity of providing a service, and security. A business which depends on the cyber world, a bank, for example. If this grinds to a standstill, the transactions stop and business stops. For a state, what's important is protection. And the key issue today, and that's why so many hackers, is having a mix between protection and ease of use. It's a bit like your house. You insure it, you put a super alarm system or a bomb shelter in the basement. But how do you weigh the risks? As I see it, efforts are in the consumer world. That's why I'm happy with the initiative you just announced, because this will make it possible to update all these initiatives in states around the G20. Thank you.